But we are now joined by Alex Tryman. He's the CEO and Jerusalem Bureau Chief of the Jewish News Syndicate, and he joins us from Jerusalem. Thank you so much, Alex, for your time and joining us. How is Israel viewing the results? Give us a sense of that, because from what we understand as international viewers, so to say, of the conflict that's unfolding in West Asia, a ceasefire is what everyone's demanding and expecting. However, what are the two factions, if there are two factions in Israel? Are they Biden and Trump versus Kamala Harris, or were they Republicans versus Democrats? How is Israel viewing the next presidency?
Well, Donald Trump is probably most popular in the state of Israel than in any other country. Exit polling before the election showed that more than 2/3, even almost 3/4 of Israelis preferred a Trump presidency to a Harris presidency. There's a great feeling here that Netanyahu will return to working very well with the U.S. president. Trump and Netanyahu worked very well during those 4 years, which included many great accomplishments for Israel, and also was one of the quietest periods in Israel in terms of terrorism. And the feeling is here that Trump will back Netanyahu and the IDF to win this war, win it conclusively and win it quickly, so that you can establish a long-term peace in the Middle East, as opposed to a ceasefire, which would leave Hezbollah and Hamas in power, almost guaranteeing future rounds of conflict.
Well, Mr. Alex, now that you've mentioned winning the war, there are those people who say that now that Trump said that his presidency will not be with any kind of wars. We're talking about peace. We are talking about ending the war. Do you think that is something that Trump will be able to do in his 100 days in office?
I think that this war can end within 100 days. I think that it's most likely with the Trump presidency that it is going to win with the conclusive Israeli victory, such that you will have peace for decades in the Middle East, as Hezbollah and Hamas understand that they cannot win and they cannot survive in the region. You will have a situation potentially where Lebanon is liberated from the evil grip of Hezbollah, where Gaza is now turned over to more peaceful individuals and factions to run the country, and hopefully that Iran's nuclear facilities will no longer be a threat to the entire region, including the state of Israel, as well as the United States of America, for that matter.
Alex, I do not wish to sound like the bearer of bad news here, but would you perhaps say that the conflict in West Asia would take a different shape as opposed to it getting completely, ending, as many experts have pointed out, with the new presidency?
I think it will end. I think that Trump was going to help Israel win the war. This is the feeling among the administration here, that they will work much more closely with Trump to end the war. Don't forget that Donald Trump ordered the killing of the Iranian general Qasem Soleimani, and that he has made many threats against Iran. The feeling here is that Israel has been slow walking its war through Lebanon and Gaza, in part because of the red lights that were put up by the Biden administration. Here, Israel hopes that it's going to have green lights ahead so it can finish the job as quickly as possible, because Israel wants this war over as quickly as possible as well.
Mr. Alex, let's not forget that Biden is still in charge. He's still the president. And once Donald Trump is declared the president, he will take office in January next year. Biden has a gap of 2 months. Do you think Biden will be able to change something or flex his muscles as a president and say that, you know what, before I leave office, I want this war to end? Do you think he can do that?
I actually think that the situation is going to get much more dangerous in the next 2 months for Israel. Iran, looking at a Trump presidency, understands that the penalties for attacking Israel could be much greater if they attack while Trump is the president. They may be looking at this window of 2 months to try to hit Israel with everything that they can do before Trump takes office. Also, I think that this is a period where the Biden administration could allow many resolutions to pass in the UN, particularly at the Security Council, and you might see rulings against Israel in the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice, because they also understand that there's a short window of opportunity to pass these things before the U.S. will put major pressure on them not to do so come January.
Alex, you spoke of the killing of Qasem Soleimani under previous Trump presidency, and you juxtaposed it with the ending of the war, or as you call it, winning the war. How do we look at the ceasefire talks now?
I don't think that ceasefire talks are going to progress with much, with any certainty or breakthrough in the next period. I think that you see now with Israel firing the defense minister last night. He was fired intentionally during the U.S. election in order to sort of downgrade the media publicity that move would get. Gallant was seen as working more closely with the U.S. administration among the war cabinet members than Netanyahu. I think that move indicates that Netanyahu wants to push this war forward and act in a much more aggressive way in the short term. So I don't think that that ceasefire talks are going to reach any sort of positive conclusion.
All right, we've been talking to Mr. Alex Trayman. He's a CEO and Jerusalem Bureau Chief of Jewish News Syndicate. Mr. Trayman, thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.